You're listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Today we're talking to Melissa Gregory Rue about her powerful and inspiring films on social issues. Stay tuned. Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more. www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. Hello, everybody. We are here with Melissa Gregory Rue, filmmaker. She's a writer and a director, and she is on a mission to make films with purpose. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. Summer is my favorite season, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's beautiful here. So doing well.
Oh, Kentucky is a beautiful state. I just went through there in May, and the Derby was happening or something, but the state was gorgeous, all green, and just a lovely place to be. I need to go back. So, but we're here to talk about your filmmaking journey today. And I wanted to find out, at what point did you realize I've got to become a filmmaker?
That's a good question. I was really in love with film from the first film I remember, I didn't imagine myself becoming a director, but The Wizard of Oz was the first film that I was obsessed with.
Oh, yeah.
I was very young. And then when I was in high school, I started finding some more kind of avant-garde, kind of like not mainstream.
More experimental, artsy.
Yeah, more art film type fare. And I watched a lot of those. And then in college, I knew I was really interested in filmmaking. I took a German cinema class that blew my mind.
Oh, wow.
And that was just kind of like the beginning of the light bulb going off. I did some acting in a film. I was a PA on a film, but I ended up becoming an English professor because that seemed like a much more realistic goal at that point.
Right. We all have those in this industry.
Yeah. My mom's an English teacher. But yeah, once I finally landed a full-time professor gig, I immediately knew I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I started film school a year after I started a tenure track position.
Oh, wow.
And then my path just went like, whoop, I'm done teaching, but it was a very slow and very long road.
Wow. But it led you to where you are now. And your most recent film, I think, that you released is called Live Out Loud.
Yes.
And that is a film that has a purpose, that is showing, society things that we need to know. And what brought that film about?
Well, I was living in Portland, Oregon. My husband and I met there. We lived there for almost 3 decades. I was teaching when the homelessness crisis started escalating, not only in Portland, but all over the West Coast.
Right.
And so I was a very social justice oriented as a teacher. Right. I did service learning projects with some of my students. And so it was just kind of a natural progression from, okay, teaching is really difficult. I think it's hard, especially for college teachers, to see that they're making an impact because we don't know what happens 5 years
they leave.
People 10 years, we don't know.
Right.
And so it just felt frustrating. I wanted to feel like I can see that I'm actually making an impact. People are coming up to me and saying, your film really opened my eyes. That is,
wow.
Yeah. So I really felt like I needed to do work where I could see those results concretely,
Oh, wow. How did you pick the subject matter? How did you say, this is what I need to do and write about and film?
So as the crisis escalated in Portland and different mayors were trying different, Band-Aid fixes, and nothing was really working. It was just getting worse and worse and worse.
Oh, wow.
And then a friend of mine got involved in this program where they were going to teach a free video arts class to people who were unhoused. And I said,
Oh,
I said, as a former teacher, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. But my hypothesis is that if you can keep some of these people in the program for the whole year, you're going to make a tremendous impact on their lives. And
wow. Right.
that was my guesstimate. And I said, could I please come talk to the other artists and residents about getting permission to film? And so they gave me permission. And then, of course, I had to talk to the folks who would come in for the program. And
right.
Some of them said, no way, I don't want to be in the film. Totally understand, respect.
Right.
And then a few of them, it was just magical how these three folks ended up being the ones that two of them were there for the entire year. And one of them was there for almost the entire year until he actually got into a different film program at the Northwest Film Center.
Oh,
so he wanted to move forward, and I understand that.
After you completed this film, are you still in touch with them today? Did this program change their lives?
Yes,
it did. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
It's not in the film, so I can tell you. One of them, Samaya, is now living in Venice Beach, California. So we had our premiere at Dances with Films in Hollywood last summer.
Wow.
Very exciting. I got to take my mom with me. It was
my
husband.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. And so Samaya I was able to bring her and a bunch of her friends to the premiere.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, she was just on cloud nine. I was a nervous wreck sitting in the theater. She had not seen the film. I did not. And they were all so happy afterwards. And that just made my day.
Oh my God. They hadn't seen it. Oh, I can see that makes you extra nervous.
She actually stood up. There's one scene where there's some dance. She's dancing with a bunch of people and she loved it so much. She stood up in the middle of the film and started jumping up and down.
Oh, that is so cool.
It was great. And then she is doing volunteer work, helping other people who are living on the streets in Venice
find their way.
Yeah, she is in public housing in a great situation. She's got really good health care now, and now she's paying it forward. Amazing.
I love that. And that's how it should be.
Yeah. John is actually, this is like so exciting. So John is actually getting ready to go do the MFA in theater.
No way.
Playwriting program at the Art Institute of Chicago.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how old are these individuals that, they impacted?
So John is, I'm going to say John's probably, I think John's like mid 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, to late. And hopefully I got that right because he'll watch this and be like, I can't believe
we're going to go with 25. No.
Sumaya is, I remember when we were making the film, she was like somewhere late 50s, 60s. So now she would be getting into closer to 70.
Oh, wow. So you definitely impacted, or this program, multiple generations.
Yeah.
That really speaks to our homeless population and just how diverse it really is. Wow.
Yeah. And Sumaya she did reconnect with her family and has been up to Seattle to visit some of them. And
oh, wow.
John doesn't have contact with his family, and that does not surprise me.
But he's found his way.
Yeah, he's making his own family, and I'm really excited because I'm close enough. I can go up to Chicago and support him.
Yeah. Oh, that is so awesome. So this film did pretty well on the festival circuit.
Yeah, it did well. We did. I was just going back to look, and we did 10 festivals around the world, and I'm really a big believer in self-distribution at this point.
Right.
We did get picked up for traditional distribution.
Oh, very cool.
And it was fast. I couldn't believe it. I was
wow.
In a couple of months of Dances with Films. And
wow.
And so I started negotiating the contract and ended up doing a hybrid distribute,
So you can do a little of this, a little of that.
Yeah. And so
that's brilliant.
I've got the rights for PBS underwriting, which is huge.
Oh,
and also
especially with your documentary, with that type of film. Yeah, that was very smart.
Well, I've been studying with some really smart people they're just basically self-distribution coaches.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I learned a lot during the pandemic. I was on a webinar or something almost every single day learning something.
Wow. Yeah, I used it for that too, because you kind of feel like you still need to be moving forward. And that was one way to do it. Very weird. It took me a long time to get used to like this thing called Zoom and not being in person with people. Now I'm more comfortable with it, but I don't like to see myself when I'm doing the interviews.
I like to create the scene. It's like it's kind of how I'm keeping my chops doing like mise en scène. I haven't done a drama in a while.
You're setting the mood or something. I love that. So do you have another film that you're currently getting ready to work on, or what are you up to?
Yes, I'm really excited. So I am a chronic Lyme disease
sufferer
person. Yes.
Oh.
Some of it, we call ourselves Lyme warriors.
Oh, wow.
And so there've been 3 big Lyme disease films that have come out in the last 2 years.
Oh, wow.
There's one streaming on Amazon now. There's one streaming on Netflix. But there's a lot of ground to cover in this. And so I'm actually going to turn the camera on myself for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm going to document my phase 2 of my Lyme treatment journey and trying to continue to educate people, but I also want to delve into how COVID has
impacted
big time for a lot of
wow. How do you find out that you have Lyme? Is that a like you start feeling bad and you get a blood test, or basically?
I had it for over a decade before I was diagnosed, and I
wow.
Yeah, and I would go through periods where I was feeling well, periods where I was not. I was in bed, I couldn't hurt all over, headache.
You probably thought you had like lupus or different diseases like that, right? And had to check for all of them, or
I was tested for so many things over so many years with so many different doctors, and that's really common. It's everybody in the Lyme community has a story like that, pretty much.
Wow.
Except for the lucky few who get diagnosed right off the bat. And
are those more treatable?
Well, it's more treatable the shorter amount of time it's in your body, but it's also a matter of, I have autoimmune disease too. So when your immune system is already
compromised,
and you're just more susceptible to not being able to fight off the bacteria of Lyme.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of just like, it gets in your system and it just complicates it's a mess.
And what kind of treatments are there for this disease? I really know nothing about it other than the name.
Yeah, go watch the documentaries that are out because they're really educational. Honestly, the best treatments for people who don't get rid of it with the standard 2 weeks of doxycycline, which doesn't really get rid of it for too many people.
Oh, wow.
That is a myth. Then those of us who aren't able to fight it off with that, and then we end up getting sicker and sicker and sicker over time. Most of the treatments they're not recognized in the United States, but they are recognized in Europe.
Do you have to travel to get medical care?
You have to play this game where it's like becoming a private investigator to find a Lyme literate doctor in the US.
Oh, wow.
So I have finally found one who I was in treatment in Arizona for 3 months before the pandemic. And I got IV antibiotics and other anti-inflammatory natural things.
Oh, wow.
5 days a week for like 4 to 5 hours. I'm sitting in an infusion room.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It was quite a journey then.
It's a lot like cancer.
I was going to say that. I was like, can I?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I was in treatment. The private clinic I was in was all cancer, all Lyme.
Wow.
and insurance companies don't want to cover the treatment. So there's a big political aspect of this. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So anyway,
you're going to have a lot to tell when you put together your journey, phase 2.
A lot of this stuff has been covered, but what hasn't been covered is, how the films that have come out in the last couple of years, you can tell were shot before the pandemic or kind of wound up towards the beginning of the pandemic. So they weren't really able to bring what's happened the last few years.
Oh, wow. During the pandemic, was getting treatment for this difficult? Because you can't travel. You can't go.
Yeah. I just quit everything.
Oh, wow.
And so I had made a lot of headway. When I got to the treatment in 2019, I could barely walk.
Oh,
yeah. I couldn't read for more than 10 minutes or I get a migraine.
Oh, geez. Wow.
I could go on and on. So
yeah. We'll watch the film when you're done with it.
Every system of the body. So,
it's terrible.
And the brain. So there are a lot. If you have it in your brain, it causes a lot of cognitive problems. Like Parkinson's. So
what are your plans for it? You're going to make that over the next year, or have you already started?
Well, I'm going to do a short first.
Okay.
And I'm going to work with a really tiny crew, just really simple. And then I'm going to try to put the short out as soon as possible in order to raise money for the feature. And when I get to the feature, I'm going to bring in
bigger crew and
more people into the story, like
that have had the same issue, or more people with Lyme. Okay. Interesting.
Different socioeconomic situations. I'm fortunate that I can even afford to get care.
Right.
So
I hope that goes very well for you. It's definitely an important topic too. What made you decide when you were going to become a filmmaker that your films need to have meaning and impact?
Well, it took me a long time to figure out what it was I wanted to be doing. And I've taken a lot of classes. I was studying with a guy from the UK, and he does a lot of mentoring with indie filmmakers. And one of the first things he taught us was, you need to know your mission. You need to know your goal. Every single project you choose to do needs to be in line with your mission. And that the light bulb just went off, because I realized all of the little projects I had gone off and done on the side over the years, that my heart wasn't in it. It wasn't a waste of time. It's never a waste of time. It's
definitely a learning experience, right? Growing.
It was learning, but it's like, I'm at the point, you get to that point, you're like, now I'm at the point, I need to focus. I need to make sure everything is in line with why I'm doing this. And that cleared up so much.
It makes sense. Total sense, for sure. What advice would you have to share with somebody that wants to jump into filmmaking, whether they're telling, stories for pure entertainment or stories for, a bigger purpose?
Well, I would say, do some journaling, really reflect on what you've done up to this point. Look at what are your recurring themes? What do you keep getting drawn back to? And and think about, what are the projects you've done that felt really fulfilling and your heart was there, and when you were finished with it, you were glad you did it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think that helps clarify.
It does, whether your genre is like something like a thriller or suspense or something else. You do need to know when you finished it how you feel. That's a really good gauge. I wish you told me that like 10 years ago.
I wish somebody had told me that when I started, but I'm still. I was so interested in experimental film when I was in film school, and I think a lot of people are, because you're getting introduced to these people you've never heard of that are
right.
Wild,
Yeah, my son always talks about making an art film, and granted, they're pretty, but I can't necessarily see it story wise, and I'm just like, I don't know, So, but I'm going to tell him what you just said.
Then you take, the beautiful thing is taking those ideas of how to do something new and innovative, and then integrating that into a story, and then you have something.
You can have all of it probably if you put it together right. Yes, it's true. That is true. So if people want to learn more about you or find you, where would they go to look?
Go to my website. It's www.melissagregoryrue.com. And the website for Live Out Loud is liveoutloudmovie.com.
Perfect.
And there's a link on the movie site we're streaming on Vudu and Spectrum now.
Good.
And
Perfect.
So we're hoping to get more platforms. And then we're going to be moving on into more like the social impact part of the project. So I'll be taking it around or doing things like this with universities, community groups.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What message do you want people to take away from the film once they watch it?
I think that one of the things that's really important to me is that people realize we have brilliant people living on the streets of our.
True.
And there, of course, we know the stereotypes. These people are mentally ill, and many
or
of
the
them
drugs, or
or they're just lazy, and there are reasons that these social problems come about that are not being adequately addressed in our society. But I think aside from that, I think it's just for people to look and go, oh my gosh, we have untapped human potential. If we were to be able to uplift more people, not just get them into housing. We know that's important. Water, shelter, food. You got to have the basics.
Right.
But people can't really turn their lives around until they regain their self-esteem. And so that's what I think was so important about this arts program for these folks, was that they gained this new identity in a way.
Oh, wow.
They became filmmakers.
Somebody basically put their hand out and helped to lift them back up too. I think people can't do it alone, and we have to not be afraid of what we don't understand.
Yes.
I have this philosophy in life too about judging, and I feel very strongly we should never judge anyone for anything going on in their life, because, and maybe I'm a little bit superstitious, but I feel like if I judge you or anyone else, whatever's happening to you that I'm judging you for could happen to me tomorrow. And so it would be more important for me to extend a hand and help them if I have that option over saying they're lazy, they're this, they're that. Because I could be them. I could be them tomorrow. Who knows why? My spouse could pass, or, something could happen. Yes. And I love that you're telling these meaningful stories. It's a good thing. And hopefully people will watch it and they'll be able to take that away from them. So it's nice. It's very, very nice. But we should probably do our last 5 minutes, which is 5 fun questions for you. Whenever you're ready, we'll get started.
Okay, go.
Okay, here we go. What is your favorite food?
Alaskan king salmon.
Do you have to go to Alaska for that? No.
No, you can. Everybody from the Northwest is going, yes. Yeah.
That's great.
You learn to love that there. Yes.
That is great. Okay, here's one for the filmmakers. What is your favorite thing to drink after you've been on set all day?
Oh, interesting. I think I'm supposed to be short. Depends on the mood. A lot of water first.
Good. I love water. Well, a lot of people do say, because they're like, well, I got to get back up and go there tomorrow. It needs to be water, or, something like that. And then, I do get a full range on that, but I was surprised. Lemon water, the coconut water. There's so many types of water I'm learning. I love it. What is something that you have always dreamed of doing, but you haven't done yet? Not film related.
Right. Oh boy.
It is a hard one, right? Because a lot of us, we're so busy working, we don't think about these other things.
I think in my next life, I would like to be an archaeologist.
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah, you know what? I dream about that too. That's a cool one because history is fascinating and that's the best way to find it. So I like that. It's a good one. All right, here's a fun one. What is your favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs when you're driving in the car and you think no one can hear you?
Oh, I had a song when I was making the film before Live Out Loud, Gotta Believe by Fatback.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, an old funk.
Yes. Oh my God. That's a cool. I didn't expect that.
It's a really fun song.
Yeah.
I recommend it for motivation. I played it every single day for about a year to keep going on that film.
Was that film like super like difficult to make because of the human element?
Yeah, it was a short drama and it had epic proportions of organization. And next time I do a drama, it's going to be two locations
and 2 people. No.
3 actors.
Maybe 3. I love that. Okay. All right. Last question. What is your favorite movie?
Boy, that's tough. There are 2 I always come back to, and I can't decide between them. One is Akira Kurosawa's Dreams.
Oh, wow.
The other one is Wim Wenders' Wings of Desire.
Oh, wow. You really do like these intense, powerful journeys in film. That's very interesting. Very cool. Well, I hope when you get ready to do your next film, when it's ready to come out, you'll come back and talk to us again. I wish you great success on this. And it's been a real pleasure having you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day. And we will talk soon, I hope. Bye. Today's show is sponsored by Gym Kitty, helping women on their health and wellness journey by providing high-quality, organically sourced vitamins and supplements. Visit them today at www.gymkitty.net. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast has been sponsored by Samara Entertainment.